Friendly greetings. MPod here with Forex Smart Tools. I wanted to spend just a couple minutes today showing you how you can work with the calculator and the trade log with your own particular strategy. So we're going to be looking at a strategy used by our friends at Northern Big Lights. We're not going to teach you this strategy, but just say that we're using that and how would we use the tools to work with this strategy. For more details, of course, you'll be going to the Forex Smart Tools website. But now let's dive right in. Here I am at the beginning of September. I'm looking at the Aussie on a daily chart, and I've seen a fresh cross of my moving averages. I'm going to take this trade, and I see that my entry point at the open of the next day's candle will be 91.13. I'm going to put my stop below that prior fractal, 87.69. So I'm going to begin by pulling up the calculator. So I have my calculator open here. Let's say I'm working on an equity of $20,000. Of course, wherever I was in the world, I could be using whatever my native currency was. My normal risk profile is, say, 2% for a trade, meaning I don't want to risk any more than $400 on this particular trade. But let's say I have another trade open. I may not want to go in even this strongly on this trade. Let's say I'm just going to go in at 1.75% risk. And of course the calculator immediately tells me my maximum loss would be $350 on this trade. I can live with that, so I'm going to go ahead with this. I go to my trade plan page and I dial in the Aussie dollar right here, and I have a clean slate, so I'm going to begin. I'm going to be buying. My entry price is 0.9113. My stop that I see is going to be 0.8769. And I'm going to take, let's say I'm take a 4 pip cushion below that. So my calculator is immediately telling me, go ahead. I'm going to take into account spread, bid and ask, everything you need to know. I'm just going to put my stop at 87.65. And it says, for this particular trade, if I use one mini lot, 1/10 of a standard lot, I'm not going to risk more than 1.74%. And that's what I said right here in my setup page. I don't want to lose more than 1.75, so I know I'm good at this level. Now I'm going to go to the trade log. Here we are in the trade log, the second program you get when you buy the Forex Smart Tools. The calculator and the trade log come together. So I want to customize my parameters so that when I enter my trades, I can keep track of a few of the things that are important to me. So I'm going to go with custom parameters and choose add. And I get a dialog box that lets me name it. I'm going to call it river, and I'm going to write a description for myself about what the river is about. So I've written my description. What is the separation between my main moving averages at the time I take this trade? And because I just want to record a number for this, I'm just going to click the number dialog here and click create. And then it shows up here as a parameter for me to track. So I'm going to click that on so it will show. While I'm here, I want to create another custom parameter, and this I'm going to call headroom. It's also going to be a number, and it's going to be how many pips to my nearest significant support or resistance level. How much room do I think this has before I might run into some problems? I'm going to create that, and I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to call this parameter how fresh. When I entered my trade, how many bars away was the actual moving average cross? So you can see with these custom parameters, I'm just defining the things that count to me as I do this. This one I'm going to define as an option list. It then shows up and it lets me define what those options are. So I have a blank slate now, and it starts with the description that I gave it myself. I'm going to right click and choose add, and here I'm going to enter my first option as 1 bar. So I've added a few more options, and I'm going to remember to turn that on as well. And of course there are a number of standard parameters that we give you, strategy of course. And I have a number of my different strategies that I use here. Crossing river is one that I've already defined, so I'll leave that there. I'm good to go. And I'm also going to be interested in what was the stop I initially used. I'm going to make sure that I have screenshots turned on, and notes and lessons learned. So the things that I would set up on the setup page are usually a one-time only. Or I might every once in a while, when I add a new strategy or when I want to examine something else, I might revisit that. but the trade input page is where I'll really interact and do all my work. So here I have a clean slate for a new trade, and I'm going to choose the Aussie dollar, and that's a buy, and I'm going to choose whichever broker I'm on. I'm placing this trade on a broker that I have mini lots with, so I know that that trade went in as one mini lot, and I can place the entry time. So I've just remembered that my entry price was $91.13. I'm also going to make a note that my stop was $87.69. So I'm also going to enter my stop use, 0.8769. One of the things I always like to do is to take a screenshot when I first enter a trade. So I've done that here, and it's automatically included in the permanent record, the permanent database of my trade log. Each day I'm going to be adding a new screenshot as I follow along on this trade. And each day also, as I go along, I'm going to be recording notes about it. What do I see on each day? So let me jump ahead a little bit. Let's say that I'm on the 14th day of this trade. And you can see that I've entered 14 individual screenshots here because I want to watch how this trade develops, and I want to be able to go back anytime into my history and review this easily. And by clicking on any one of those screenshots, I can go right to it, and by clicking on the next button, I can see this play out day by day. So here I was on this particular day, the 14th of September. After the last 4 days, I saw that I had quite a bit of consolidation here at what was the prior top. I was concerned that it might reverse there, but I'm really excited to see that it pushed a little bit beyond it, retested that resistance, and now has made a new high. So even though it's not created a fractal for me, I'm going to go ahead and lock in quite a bit of my profit here. And I'm going to move my stop to 93.30. Now even though this trade has not closed, at any point I can come in and put in my exit price as kind of a trial. So the red on my trade log is showing me that this is not yet a complete trade, and that's the case because I don't have my exit time in, nor do I have my exit profit or loss in here yet, but I can get an immediate quick tally on what my current pip reading is by simply putting in what today's closing price is. 93.30 tells me that there I am at 217 pips. And actually I'm not putting in what my closing price today is. What interests me most is where my stop is now, because that's the profit that I've locked in. So I can see that I've already assured myself of 217 pips of profit on this trade. Now a few more days have gone by. Every day I'm taking a screenshot and entering it in. My trade is looking really good. Now I've actually have a new fractal formed, and I'm going to move my stop again to 94.64. Again, I'm going to come up and float that in, hit tab, and I can see that I've already now locked in 351 pips. Something else I find useful as I go back and review my trades and learn from them is I keep notes as I go along each day about what I see, why I made a decision to move my stop up after the consolidation even though there wasn't a fractal in place. When I do move my stop, what do I see? What else might I be noticing in other markets or news that might come along? I keep a running tab of all of my decisions making as the trade is going along in the notes section. And of course, when I'm done with the trade or at any point I have any major ahas, I'll write that out for myself in the lesson learned section. And here's our trade to date. So we began it here. We can see the whole progress, step by step, walking through where we moved our stop. It's as though you can revisit your own thinking process, and that's where we are to date. Let's just imagine that I'm going to close out that trade today. As soon as I've closed that out with the entering all the information needed, I get my final pip tally and also my equity change. How much money did I actually make on this trade? 2.54%. I'm very satisfied with that. I'll write my lessons learned and move on to the next. Now this is part of my permanent database recording not only what my decisions and my screenshots were altogether, but also the financial aspects of it, which will be part of my summary and my analysis. One more feature of the trade log I'd like to point out is after the trade is closed, I can go up to Actions and choose Save this trade as a PDF file. I can choose whether I want to include screenshots or not. In this case I do, so I'll click Save. And here we see the PDF file. It includes all the information about the trade, the broker, the entry, the exit time, the entry prices, any of the particular parameters that I've recorded, as well as my notes and my lessons learned, my strategy, all easily together in one standard format. And then of course in the following pages I have all my screenshots. All the ones that I've included with this trade are included in that PDF. So I can review it exactly as the trade unfolded. For more information about how the Forex Smart Tools calculator and trade log work, please visit our website www.forexsmarttools.com.